live. This is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is April 16th, 2014. Took a while to do this report. I'm attaching a lot of things. Alrighty then, I'm attaching a lot. Very late at night. On Gerald CELENTE's channel, Trends in the News, Gerald CELENTE's reporting tech stocks are plummeting as insiders sell. Also, Japan to restart idle nuclear reactors. Also, China rejects GMO corn made in America. Wow. Alrighty then. The rest of the news I'm going to attach. It is Wednesday, hump day. We're almost going into the eve of Friday. Be safe, stay tuned, and I'll see you again tomorrow on the flip side. Take care. Alrighty, let's check this out. DUTCHSINCE's channel about Yellowstone unrest. USGS installs new seismometers to monitor process to prepare. Wow. Alrighty then. Let's listen to what he has to say. No, out. Actually just went out. Stop now. Let me record this. Here we go.
Hey everybody, DUTCHSINCE here. It is 1:15 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday, April 16th, 2014. And we're looking at Earthquake 3D here, and I've got the earthquakes turned down just for the last 48 hours. Showing you the earthquake swarm that's been occurring here just west of Yellowstone at the western portion of the Yellowstone magma chamber. And this is something that I've been reporting on now for the last several weeks. Now, I've got breaking news on the area, specifically on this spot here where we've been seeing multiple earthquakes occur over the last month, and it's been a legitimate swarm that you can see here, and this of course is the Oklahoma fracking swarm. But here, western edge of the Yellowstone magma chamber, if you've been paying attention to my posts, I've been showing you guys, here's the earthquake area, here's the magma chamber. They've identified that the magma chamber extends that far over into Idaho, and then the rise of the area confirmed 2-inch rise since New Year's and pushed a 1/2 inch southeast. So we're talking about this area here raised 2 inches and pushed a 1/2 inch down to the southeast, and it's been causing earthquakes now pushed along the edge of the craton down here to the south. Now this story today says that the USGS is aware of the hundreds of earthquakes, and today they are installing special seismometers in the region to monitor the activity. And the professional down here at the bottom, the disaster preparedness expert for the region, is telling everybody to possibly prepare, that it's a good idea to have bottled water and canned goods on hand just in case a big shaker should strike. And again, the threat in the area is not for an eruption. We've shown this, and I've shown this in my post. There's no question about it, that the threat lies for an earthquake, like the 1950s 7.0, 7.9, caused major damage in the region. We're looking at an earthquake threat in the region. So it's not good to downplay the threat at Yellowstone. It is good to downplay the threat of an eruption at Yellowstone right now. However, the earthquake threat is growing and building. They are making note of it. That is in this story here today. They wouldn't be installing special seismometers in the region unless something was really going on. So that leads me to say, have an earthquake plan, be ready, be prepared along the edge of the North American craton. There's somebody that came over to my page and said, oh, the craton edge is not being displaced, that it goes thousands of miles over to the sea. No, we're talking about the unsubducted portion. Again, this is the part that has remained relatively stable and untouched over hundreds of millions of years. Compare the edge here to the earthquakes here. Follow the edge. The edge is being displaced. Now this, again, turns modern geology on its head. Go read the article. They're puzzled. First paragraph, they're puzzled as to what. No, you shouldn't be puzzled. I've explained it now multiple times. I understand it turns everything you know on your head, but there it is. The earthquakes are progressing from west to east across the edge of the North American craton. Whether you want to believe it or not, it doesn't matter. It's proved. There it is. We can watch them pop off. Again, you can just watch them over the days as they progress from west to east. It's there right before your eyes. People who don't want to see it are obviously just parrots from school who don't want to learn something new, maybe they don't want to bother learning some kind of new science. I don't know what the explanation is for why people wouldn't want to acknowledge that this is occurring when you can see it right in front of your eyes. They're installing special seismometers in the region, and they're recommending that people prepare. I'm telling you guys the same thing, have been for several weeks now. Have a plan, be ready, be prepared, just in case. You may never have to use it. You better hope you never have to use it. Intermountain West, large earthquake. We're talking about landslides. We're talking about a lot of houses with stone frontage to the houses. I lived in Colorado myself. If a 7.9 strikes up in Yellowstone or just north in Montana, you're talking about the entire mountain range there having some serious problems. All the houses built on those steep slopes in Denver, for instance, you would be feeling that rumbling, that shaking coming from Yellowstone if a 7.9, like the 1950s, if that happened again.
A tsunami.
Okay, guys? Hang in there. Much love. Just wanted to show you. Someone else finally noticed, and they're warning people. The professionals are warning people, not just me now. You don't just have to take my word for it. Now, let's hope nothing happens, right? I mean, that's the best case scenario. Things calm down. You can see where the pressure's coming from. It's coming from the West Pacific. Again, geologists saying that earthquakes don't transfer. Well, we saw two back-to-back across the Pacific Ocean, 8.0 earthquakes and 7.0 earthquakes in the last few weeks. I'd say that there is a pressure transfer that's occurring. Again, whether or not they want to admit it, who cares? You can see it right in front of your own eyes. Okay? Cheers, guys. Hang in there. Much.
This is a THORNEWS presentation. THORNEWS presents. Alright, this is a THORNEWS warning. This episode is pretty preachy. It discusses religion and personal belief, which is something I usually avoid because everybody fights over it and nobody ever agrees. So go forward if you choose. Knowing that, please be respectful in the comment section of this video because it is my belief only God can judge, and that overall I find it surprising in this time of mankind being so conquered and divided that science has started an assault on America's mainstream beliefs. And I guess it's just like the geeks in high school always wanted to be the bullies. And that's depressing, man. I would like to also address the fact that whether or not these 4 blood moons on 4 Jewish holidays are a sign of things to come, it doesn't matter. The world is so crazy, getting crazier every day, that it just doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you be prepared and we figure out a way to bring it all back together. Because what doomers and apocalypsers seem to forget is that for the actual end of times, there will be 1,000 years of peace. Since we haven't had that yet, I ain't worried about the world ending. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today on the 14th, when this video comes out, Earth will be the closest to Mars in 2 years and 2 months. And this is a few days after Earth was in direct opposition with Mars. And then on April 15th, we have the first of 4 blood moons. A tetrad of blood moons. Now you may be asking yourself, what is a blood moon? But considering everyone else has covered this, you probably already know. It just means a full moon that turns red. Wait, it may be more complicated than that, but that's all I'm going to say right now. Now, why is this significant? Well, some people are saying because each of the 4 tetrad blood moons is falling on a Jewish holiday. Now, science has come out and written several articles saying that this is not special, this is not abnormal, and then, as is their new way, going out of their way to make fun of Christians. Now, for the record, I want to remind everybody that science went way out of its way to state again and again that comets are not omens. and then Comet Ison got destroyed by the sun's cannons. And then almost from that moment on, science went on a full frontal, planned and scheduled attack on Christianity. It started with Bill Nye taking down some black ham dude who was like the worst candidate you could pick to represent Christians in a debate. And then they went straight into their Cosmos show, which from what I've heard does a lot of poo-pooing and crapping on Christians. And then they made, right after that, they had Noah come out, which was like an anti-God, anti-Christian, anti-Jewish version of Noah's Ark. It feels to me as though, even though science told us 100 times that comets are not omens, from almost the moment Comet Ison disappeared, science began a you are either with us or against us mentality against Christianity, religion, creationism, and anyone who disagrees. Now, I also want to preface this with, at the same time, they're starting an extremely strong climate change push, and as I've stated before, whether or not climate change is or is not real, science seems to believe in government as if it is God. They seem to disregard all past evidence as far as what government does improve and what government makes more complex and more costly. And I also want to point out that modern professional science is an arm of government. So while trying to cut down the people's God, they are promoting theirs. And it's just like Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead, where God has been ripped from a pedestal, and instead of being replaced by a giant hulking demon, it's just replaced by an idiot sipping on a Coke. So like I said, I have a hard time, people, because I try to walk the line between science and religion. As a Norwegian Christian, very few people agree 100% with my beliefs, which is totally fine with me. My beliefs are not about popularity. My beliefs are about what I believe over the course of my entire life through my own empirical evidence. That you have not walked in my shoes, so of course you are not going to believe what I believe. Though I fully respect your right to believe in what you believe, I usually find Christians disagreeing with me, atheists disagreeing with me, agnostics disagreeing with me. So everybody disagrees with me, and I get left out all by myself. Never get invited to parties anymore. That's fine. What I'm saying is, as the mystic trying to walk between the two rivers, I have noticed one side, science, getting more aggressive. At a point where Christianity is about as discombobulated, separated, and broken into pieces as it's ever been. Science is uniform in their goal and their mission, which means they can accomplish a lot more. Like at this point, for all the trillions of dollars spent on Christianity, how many good Christian leaders do we actually have? Not many, people. Christianity has been infiltrated by capitalism, but it's kind of like a family. Whereas I recognize all the horrible things that have been done in the name of Christianity or religion over the course of history, none of them relating to Christ's two laws of love God above all else, love your neighbor as your brother. I understand that. Trust me, no one can point out the gross atrocities that have been committed that I do not know about. So I understand science has been picked on, but turnabout is not fair play, man. And at this point, I'm not saying that these blood moons are super special in the area, that like, oh my god, all this crap's gonna happen, because we are in a parabolic, holy crap, WTF is going on situation, where the world got super bizarre after 9/11 2001, and it has just keep getting worse, and it keeps getting worse faster. So no, the blood moons may not have anything to do with volcanoes going off everywhere, earthquakes everywhere, shots fired in Ukraine, riots at the Holy Temple, Chile on fire, but if you've studied some groups, they plan their events around events like this. So, whereas science is earning its money making fun of Christians, 90% of Americans, I'm just saying be prepared, be ready. Whether or not it has anything to do with the blood moons, it don't matter. The world is crazy, getting crazier. Be prepared for anything.
The operator of the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant says its water decontaminating system has suffered another setback. Tokyo Electric Power Company says water used to wash contaminated equipment overflowed in the Advanced Liquid Processing System, or ALPS, on Wednesday. TEPCO says workers discovered the problem while washing a tank used for filtering radioactive substances. The utility says more than 1,000 liters of water overflowed and is now within a barrier inside the Alps building. The firm says the water contains 3.8 million becquerels of beta ray emitting materials such as strontium and 6,700 becquerels of cesium-137. The company says workers are safe from the overflow. It is investigating the cause of the accident. TEPCO says Alps can remove most radioactive substances from water at the plant. Test operations started last year, and full-fledged use was scheduled to begin this month. But the system has been plagued with technical difficulties, forcing it to be shut down frequently. Officials have been ordered to strengthen safety measures at the Fukushima plant. This comes after the company announced on Monday that workers had pumped radioactive water into the wrong building. Workers have been injecting water into the damaged reactors to cool the melted nuclear fuel. The resulting highly radioactive water is then supposed to be sent to storage buildings before being decontaminated. However, TEPCO officials say about 200 tons of water was mistakenly pumped into the basement of a building at the compound. They say the water was directed by 4 pumps meant for emergency use. The commissioner of the Nuclear Regulation Authority, Toyoshi Fuketa, says TEPCO must take stronger measures. He suggested setting up security cameras and locking the pump's switch boxes. The regulator has ordered the utility to come up with preventative measures by Friday. Fuketa also asked for a brief of TEPCO's investigation of the inappropriate transfer.
What photo-sharing network will be complete without Vice President Joe Biden? Well, the answer is none, which makes Instagram the first network to qualify. Vice President signed up and posted his first image today, though the first pic is actually from his office staff and not Biden himself. Biden will be
Japanese authorities lifted earlier this month an evacuation order on part of the restricted zone around the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. Officials say they've completed the decontamination of that particular area, but concerns remain over the impact of radiation. Most residents have yet to return, and those with children face tough decisions about their future.
School children are back in Miyakoji for the first time in 3 years. The district is part of the municipality of Tamura. It straddles the 20-kilometer restricted zone. 3,000 people used to live here until the nuclear accident. Crews spent months decontaminating roads and ditches. They paid special attention to the areas near schools. Taiga Yamanaka and his family are happy to be home after spending years in cramped temporary housing. But Taiga is a bit disappointed. The number of pupils at his school has decreased by 2/3. 3 of his closest friends are no longer around.
I wanted to be with my buddies again.
Some residents fear the government may have failed to clear all radiation hotspots. Taiga's mother is among them.
We've been told this area has been decontaminated.
but I'm not 100% relieved. Still, I think people need to come back to allow the municipality to recover.
3/4 of Miyakoji's residents have yet to return. Naomi Munakata shares a temporary housing unit with her husband and their 2 daughters.
The situation hasn't been brought under control yet. We keep hearing about new problems at the nuclear plant.
The couple hesitated about what to do next, but they decided to follow their eldest daughter's wish.
I'm so happy to be back at my school.
Ayano wakes up an hour earlier every morning to catch the school bus to Miyakoji. She travels 20 kilometers. Her parents aren't convinced letting her go was the right decision.
I'm happy because Ayano has been looking forward to this, but we'll have to see how it goes.
Some parents in Miyakoji want the government to keep decontaminating the area. They're hoping to minimize their children's exposure to radiation and see them reunite with a few more friends.
Some historians believe a treasure trove of documents are hidden in homes across Japan. They think nearly 1 billion artifacts could be collecting dust and are in danger of being lost forever. One man is now trying to save them with the help of some unusual equipment.
Old Japanese documents are written on washi paper, made from a mixture of bark fiber and water. Some are hundreds of years old. Passing time and neglect have made them difficult to read. One man has come up with a low-tech way to save these important records. A vacuum cleaner, an electric blender, and lots of patience. These are the tools used by Teruhiro Tani in his mission to preserve the old documents. A former Japanese history professor, he has seen many cases of people throwing away documents because of the restoration cost. There are many local families who keep records dating back centuries. Often the documents have been left to molder in a forgotten corner of old storehouses and are badly damaged by the damp or from mice droppings. First, Tani separates the pages carefully, one at a time, using a palette knife. Then he uses a toothbrush to remove the surface dirt. The next step is to repair the holes where the washi paper has decayed. Tani cuts up washi paper into small pieces and mixes them up with water and glue in a blender. He pours this liquid over a page of the old document. This is where the vacuum cleaner comes into play. The water is sucked out. Tani has placed cloth under the document to soak up the moisture. The washi fibers left on top seal up the holes perfectly. In just 3 hours, the documents have become legible. Keeping the cost down is essential. Tani paid less than $2,000 to put his equipment together. A specialist restorer would charge 10 times as much or more.
People don't know what to do with their records, so they burn them or throw them out. But as you see, it's easy to restore them by yourself.
One of the documents that Tani saved turned out to be a very valuable historical record. It was a daily record written by a local merchant about 160 years ago. It describes what happened when the region was hit by significant earthquakes. In the document, it says the aftershocks continued for 4 months. This fact was unknown before. The journal is now being kept in the local museum. Officials say documents like this often contain vital information about geological weaknesses in an area. The data could be used to plan for future disasters.
We need to draw on this information to review our existing planning. Is it safe to have shelters there or hospitals there?
Tani wants to get people to join in his efforts, so he's begun organizing workshops on how to preserve old records. The response has been strong. For the first session, twice as many people applied for the 12 places available.
It's exciting to find out more about the documents that are hidden away around our town. I want to support Mr. Tani's work.
I believe it's our responsibility to pass on our historical records to future generations. Documents like these hold vital messages. The key is to get the local people involved.
Tani says old documents are a crucial link to people's local culture and identity. He'll continue his work to preserve that record, one page at a time.
Here's today's final thought, and it's a serious one. Michael Ruppert was a fine broadcaster, researcher, interviewer, buster of myths. He took on big stories, big people, and regularly nailed them. Michael went further into conspiracy theory than I do, and I could not follow him there. But we found plenty to agree upon when it came to the nuclear issue. He produced and hosted the Lifeboat Hour on PRN, and I was honored to be his guest on the show on March 16, only 4 weeks ago. Last Sunday, April 13, after he finished his broadcast, he went home and shot himself to death. Apparently, it was a planned event to end his life, the culmination of the weight of what he knew, what he shared, and the darkness that came over him never left. He posted his farewell on Facebook, which I now read. He said, "I pray to all things seen and unseen, known and unknown, for we are all one. The prophecies are being fulfilled. The hour of birth is at hand. The waters break and rend. There is blood. There are screams of pain. There is death and much anxiety in the air. Things look very bad for our mother and all of her children. The truth awaits just on the other side of the ever-dissolving veil where all the screaming and the mess is going on. The truth opens its arms wide to lovingly receive the newborn and to comfort it. Isn't it wonderful, the truth exclaims? I am your scout, and this is my report." Rest in peace, Michael Ruppert, and my condolences to all the people who loved him. This is a tough battle in which we are engaged, one that can wear us down to our souls. So I encourage you to go outside and hug a tree, or stay inside and hug someone you love. Be kind and gentle with yourself, and no matter how annoyed you get with others within our movement, or how much you disagree with them, do not attack. We can all find ourselves in a fragile state, and when we're there, it does not take much to inflict real damage. So take care with yourself and with others as we fight for what we believe. And Michael, wherever you are, we can use all the help you're capable of sending our way. Safe journey. This has been Nuclear Hot Seat for Tuesday, April 15, 2014.